Morning children, hope you all are fine. Children, in the last video I had discussed about the machines, the functions and uses of simple machines and some terms related to a machine. We had already also discussed about the principle of a machine. See children, today I will explain you about the levers. What are levers? What is a lever? Lever is a straight, rigid bar which is capable of turning about a fixed axis. Okay, that means if it is fixed from a point and it is able to rotate or turn about a fixed axis, then we say it is a lever, which is the simplest form of a machine. The axis about which the lever turns passes through a point of the lever which is called the fulcrum. Now the axis about which this straight bar, the rigid bar is turning, that is actually what it is, the fulcrum. Okay, it is known as the fulcrum. It is generally marked by the letter F. Fulcrum is generally marked by the letter F. This point does not move but remain fixed when the lever is in use. Fulcrum does not move from its position. It remains fixed when the lever is in use. Okay, now see children, the principle of a lever today I will explain you. See, figure this. It is showing a lever AB. It is the lever AB. AB, let's give the name this lever to AB. Okay children, this is the lever A and B. AB lever with the fulcrum at F and effort E. You are able to see effort E applied at a point A of the lever overcomes a load L at the point B. Okay, from the fulcrum F, the distance FA is known as what? It is known as the effort arm, and the distance FB, that means the point FB of point B at which the load acts, is called the load arm. That means the point where the effort acts, the distance between the effort and the fulcrum is known as the effort arm, and the distance between the load and the fulcrum is known as the load arm. Okay, for an ideal lever, it is assumed that the rod, that means this straight bar, is weightless and there is no friction at the fulcrum. There is no friction also. Okay, now a lever works on the principle of moments. According to which, what is the principle of moments children? In chapter number 1 I have explained you. According to which, what happens? In the equilibrium position of the lever, moment of load about the fulcrum is equal to the moment of effort about the fulcrum. That means moment of load is equals to the moment of the fulcrum. Okay, at the equilibrium position. But the two moments always, that means the moment of load and the moment of effort, always acts in the opposite direction. That means this moment of load will act in clockwise direction. You can see moment of load will act in clockwise direction, whereas moment of effort will act in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, now what is moment of load? Moment of load is what? Load into load arm. F into D is the formula, moment. Okay, so moment of load will be load into load arm, and moment of effort is equals to what? Effort into effort arm. Now according to principle of moments, what? That means according to principle of moments, what? Moment of load equals to moment of effort. Moment of load is equals to moment of effort. Okay children, moment of effort. Now moment of load is what? Load into load arm. Load arm is FB, and moment of effort is effort into effort arm, that means FA. Okay, L into FB equals to E into FA. Now when we'll take this load effort this side, what will happen? Load by effort is equals to FA by FB. Now load by effort is whose formula? Mechanical advantage. That means instead of load by effort, we can write mechanical advantage. Mechanical advantage is equals to what? FA is what? Effort arm divided by load arm. Effort arm divided by load arm. Okay, did you understand now? This is the principle of a lever. What is the principle of lever? Clockwise moment of load is equals to about the fulcrum is equals to the anti-clockwise moment of the effort about the fulcrum. Okay, now we have the formula what? Ma equals to effort arm by load arm. Okay, one formula is Ma equals to load by effort, another formula which we get is Ma equals to effort arm by load arm, children. Okay, see children, this is the lever, fulcrum is in between, effort is acting at one point and load is acting at one point. The distance between the fulcrum and effort is known as the effort arm, and the distance between the fulcrum and load is known as the load arm. Okay, now children, the principle of lever depends on the works on the principle of moments. What is the principle of moments, children? According to the principle of moments, at the equilibrium position, what happens? That what is the equilibrium position? Moment of load about the fulcrum is equals to what? Moment of effort about the fulcrum, but they both act in opposite direction. That means one will act in clockwise direction and other will act in anti-clockwise direction. From the diagram we can see that load will act in clockwise direction and the effort will act in anti-clockwise direction. Now moment of load about the fulcrum is what? F into D, that is load into load arm, and moment of effort about the fulcrum is what? Effort into effort arm. Okay, E into Fa. Now when we'll take effort to this side, load by effort equals to Fa by Fb. The load by effort is what? Mechanical advantage. Mechanical advantage equals to Fa is effort arm and Fb is the load arm. That means Fa equals to effort arm by load arm. Now children, from this equation what we can conclude that if effort arm equals to load arm, then what will happen? Mechanical advantage will be 1. If effort arm is greater than load arm, then what will happen? Ma is greater than 1. Okay, and if effort arm is less than load arm, then Ma is less than 1. Okay, so if we want to increase the mechanical advantage, then what we have to do? Either we have to increase its effort arm, or we have to decrease its load arm. Okay, so to increase the mechanical advantage, in this previous board exams, this question has come: how we can increase the mechanical advantage without changing the positions of changing the length of the lever. So how we can do that? We can increase the mechanical advantage of a lever by increasing its effort arm or by decreasing its load arm. Okay, so now children, there are 3 types of lever depending upon the relative positions of the effort, load and fulcrum. Okay, where the effort, load and fulcrum are placed on a lever, there are following 3 types of levers. What they are? Class 1 lever, class 2 lever and class 3 lever. One by one we will understand them in detail, children. Now children, see class 1 levers. What is class 1 levers? In this type of levers, the fulcrum F is in between the effort and the load. The fulcrum is in between the effort and the load, children. Note children that the fulcrum F need not to be at the midpoint between the load L and the effort. I am not saying that the fulcrum should be at the midpoint between the effort and the load, but what the point is, the effort and the load are on either side of fulcrum in the same direction. Okay, see, both are acting downwards, no? So what is the point? That I am not saying that fulcrum should be at the midpoint between the effort and load, but the effort and load should be on either side of this fulcrum and both acting in the same direction. Okay children, now there are many class 1 lever examples. For example, first a seesaw. A seesaw is a good example of class 1 lever. You can see this is the fulcrum. You can see in parks. Okay, fulcrum which is not moving, it is fixed at its position, the effort and the load. Okay, likewise we have a pair of scissors, crowbar, handle of water pump, claw hammer, pair of pliers, beam of a physical balance, spade used for turning the soil, spoon used to open the lid of a tin can, catapult and nodding of your head, even human head, are the few examples of class 1 levers. You can see in your book as well. See your book. See, all these are the examples of class 1 lever. This is the plier. You can see it is plier. Then this is spade turning soil. It is shears. Okay, shears are used to cut the metal sheets. Then this is the seesaw. This is a spoon used to open a lid. Fulcrum is in between, effort is here, load is here. Then it is a crowbar. You can see fulcrum is at the between, effort is down, load is here, acting here. Then it is a pair of scissors. Okay, where is the fulcrum? At the between position, this is the effort, this is the fulcrum, this is the load, and this is the, here you will apply the effort. Then handle of a pump. Okay, water pump. Likewise, claw hammer. These all are the examples of class 1 lever given in your book. Okay, children. Now see, children, when the effort arm is longer than the load arm, the mechanical advantage and the velocity ratio of the ideal class 1 lever are greater than 1. See, children, for class 1 levers, the mechanical advantage and velocity ratio can have any value, either greater than 1, less than 1, or equal to 1 also. Okay, we cannot say that class 1 levers have always mechanical advantage and velocity ratio less than 1. In class 1 lever, mechanical advantage and velocity ratio can have any value greater than 1, either greater than 1 or less than 1 or equal to 1. Okay, there are all the three cases possible in class 1 lever. When the effort arm is, what is the MA formula? Just now we have studied what is the MA, effort arm by load arm. We have just find out this formula now, MA equals to effort arm by load arm. Okay. See, children, when effort arm is greater than the load arm or is longer than the load arm, the mechanical advantage and the velocity ratio of the ideal class 1 lever are greater than 1. Such a lever serves as a force multiplier. This I have already explained you. Then when MA is greater than MA and VR, velocity ratio is greater than 1, then the machine will act as a force multiplier. Okay, that is, it enables us to overcome a large resistive force, that is load, by a small effort. For example, you can see shears. Shears are used for cutting the thin metal sheets, have much longer handles as compared to its blades. Okay, so what we are doing, we are applying more effort here. Okay, effort arm is greater than the load arm. Okay, the handles are greater than the load arm, the blades are smaller. Similarly, a crowbar, claw hammer, pliers, and spoon. You can see spoon also, na? Spoon, the handle where you apply the effort is greater than the effort arm is greater than the load arm, so it will act as a force multiplier. If in an ideal class 1 lever has effort arm and load arm of equal lengths, then what will happen? Then both its mechanical advantage and velocity ratio is equals to 1. What is the example of class 1 lever? It is the physical balance, with both arms equal in length. Okay, this is the case where the mechanical advantage and velocity ratio is equals to 1. And why it is possible? Because its effort arm and load arm both are equal. Okay, now the third case where mechanical advantage and velocity ratio is less than 1, when it is possible, when effort arm is less than the load arm. Okay, then when effort arm is less than the load arm, then what will happen? Its mechanical advantage as well as velocity ratio is less than 1. Such type of levers will act as speed multiplier. Okay, gain in speed. Okay, for example, a pair of scissors, you must have seen, whose blades are longer than its handles, is used to cut a piece of cloth so that the blades move longer on the cloth when the handles are moved a little. Okay, a pair of scissors is an example of class 1 lever where MA is less than 1, children. Okay, so likewise we have many more examples. Read your book, children. Okay, till class 1 lever. In Zoom session I will proceed with class 2 levers and class 3 levers. Okay, children, your homework is to read the chapter number 3 till page number 53, children. I hope you all will do it. Okay, thank you.